Hello and welcome to another Daily Muppet. Today's video won't be too long. I don't have a ton of new news, but I do want to talk through it all, and we can kind of get through a little bit of discussing the stress of the Donny Van de Beek, the Frenkie De Jong situation as well. What's going on, all the conflicting reports, and everything like that. I'm not going to do an ad for it in this video, but I just wanted to announce that Manscaped will be sponsoring the Muppeteers again on these videos. I got offers and things from other companies that I wasn't really a fan of. I didn't want to promote things like crypto and NFT type stuff on the channel. I just don't feel comfortable promoting that kind of thing. And I've never really promoted or sold products before for something like this. But I actually used Manscaped. They sponsored us before on the podcast, and their products were good, and I think a lot of people actually like them and use them and all of that. So I figured it would be a good sponsorship to have again. That wouldn't be problematic, that people would be like, and that we've worked with before. So hopefully it's useful. There's some info in the description below. But let's talk about the news. So what I know is that Eriksen, with regards to Eriksen to start things off, has started on some medical checks. But this may be at the moment just reviewing certain records and things that are now available for him with his heart condition and everything that's gone on. And then moving forward to the regular steps of a medical and perhaps even some extra testing in there. He has started with some checks with United, but they have not finished it. I got a message about that this morning. I also saw that it was in one of the articles from Manchester Evening News that they've started with some of the preliminary checks, but that they still have to move forward with the regular ones. They're still hopeful to finish this and fly him out this week, but the main medical has not been yet completed, I don't believe. But they want to fly him out this week, and they want to fly him out perhaps with Lisandro Martinez. And again, they also do want Cristiano Ronaldo on the plane, though it's every day it starts to look more unlikely when he's going to join, or if he will join across the world in Australia, or simply join up and wait come 11 days from now when they return to England. So let's talk about Martinez. This has been moving very fast this morning. Very early, I was sent a message that they'd increased their offer. It was close, and they expect to close the deal today. A couple of days ago, I mentioned that Arnold and Murtaugh might be headed to Amsterdam in a comment. I wasn't positive at the time. I knew that they'd be having further talks with Ajax this week following their meetings in Barcelona, but I didn't know if it'd be face-to-face or how it ties into their time in Barcelona, if it would be before, after, all of that. But they are in Amsterdam now, at least Murtaugh is, to close this deal at the moment. They have communicated the willingness to increase the offer to around £45 million, just around 55 million euros, or just under. And Ajax have communicated a willingness to accept this. They do believe that this offer is being accepted or close, and that they will be finalizing it now today. Erik Ten Hag has been adamant about making this signing, and giving his only signing is Tyrell Malaysia on tour right now. Even for the high price, I kind of get it. There's no forward to sign with Anthony off the table, and obviously we know about the other targets. So you might as well just get some of the players you need regardless of the cost. I don't know how this plays out in terms of how he uses him, but certainly in review of the game yesterday, I think I mentioned a few times that the biggest concern I had was nobody cleaning up. Nobody who's aggressive out there breaking a play and cleaning up on the break behind that high press. United need that cleanup man. Ten Hag needs that cleanup man. I think he knows it. Whether that's Martinez being in the back line and stepping out to break up play and stop them on the counter, whether it's to be in the midfield where he hasn't really played recently, I don't know, but he can be that guy, and that is one of his best strengths aside from progressions, is stepping out and breaking up play, being physical even for his size, and getting involved. So I think it's a great signing. I think it's something that United need very badly in the team, and this should finally now get over the line and be getting finished as we speak, basically. It's been moving since very early this morning. Arsenal have dropped out of the race, and United are there to close the deal. Arsenal dropping out is a good thing, is partly why I think Ajax are looking now. They wanted to keep driving the price up, but they've lined up a replacement. Ajax aren't going to be involved, and now that makes the deal more viable and is part of why it's going to be closed. So they're there to close the deal now. Okay, make no mistake, that's what they intend to do today, right now, get the deal closed. On to Frenkie De Jong. I myself have had very much a fair share of mini meltdowns and worries over this situation, including today. But I want to go back to what I said in the last video and recently, and to reiterate something, as well as give some new information, even if it's not totally new as well. The fact of it is new. His agents and representatives have never, ever said to media sources, to people in the media, to people who talk to them, that he wants to leave. Never. They've never said that. They've maintained that back since May 11th when I first said it on that video. That is a fact. They have never, ever said they wanted to leave. Now, as I said before yesterday, at United, the club sources say he's open to it. Again, they've repeated that. The journalists have said that again today. But here's the thing. This is new information. This is important to understand. Because there's people I've heard from around and people I talked to, and I know this for a fact. Club sources, once again, as recently as last night, reiterated to journalists around the club and people around the club and people that I talked to and directly that they believe De Jong is open to joining, that he'd be willing to join United, that they've talked about it, and that they simply need to resolve this deferred salary thing. That is United's stance. The deal is 100% agreed with Barcelona. That is still their stance as of last night. They have this very strong statement and belief that he is open to joining United. And in their discussions with Barcelona, that Barcelona have to sell him and resolve the situation somehow. So they have to sell, they want to buy, the deal is agreed, he's open to joining. That is their stance, and from that logic, you look at it and say, it's got to be a deal that gets done, right? They met with Ali Dursun last week. They flew out to Barcelona after that. They went there for a reason. For De Jong, Oriol Dominic was a journalist who broke his move out to Barcelona in the first place. He says the deal is 100% agreed with Barcelona and expects it to get done and for Frenkie De Jong to join Manchester United in the end. But in Spain, Fabrizio and others you hear now consistently has told the clubs he doesn't want to leave, tends to stay, all of that. I'm not denying it. Again, and that's where the nerves come in on the fact. He has said that, and their representatives and agents continue to say that. But at the same time, they also say he won't take a wage cut. So what happens? In England and directly from United, the line is he's open to joining, but the wage issue needs solving, this deferred wages. How this gets solved, I'm not sure. And that's where I get worried because they flew out there, they met, they did all of that. It's still not resolved. Now, could that be that it is resolved? It's a matter of timing. Barcelona have to activate their levers so that they can pay off the deferred wages, so they can make a sale. Maybe. Maybe that's the case, but they're out here buying Rafinha and doing all this stuff, and yet Frenkie De Jong is still there. It could be a matter of time. It could be a matter of pressure. But the thing is, it's been well stated that Barcelona have to resolve it. They've said publicly he has to accept a wage cut. And those same reports that say he intends on staying say he's not intending to accept a wage cut. So something has to give, because he either stays and takes a wage cut, or he leaves. And according to Barcelona, option 1 is impossible. According to all reports, option 2 he doesn't want to do. And it only leaves the door open for option 3. And that's why there should be optimism. And the club have seen that, recognized that, and that's what they're saying as well. So it's got to get done, right? And that's how I feel about it still, logically. But it is a mess. It is a real mess. Because it's not false that he's telling people he wants to stay. And then I look at that and think, not should we go through with it because he's that good and there aren't alternatives. But have they read this situation right? At this point in time, 8 weeks on from this deal, have they read this situation right or not? And I really hope that they have. I really, really hope that they have, because it is a failure if they don't get him. Outside of, you take that team. I'm excited for what Ten Hag can do. I'm very optimistic. But as I said yesterday, the biggest concern that I have, that was obvious even in preseason, was that midfield organization behind that high press and how it's structured and all of that. And I think there's no way you can't resolve it. And so there might be a simple agreement, maybe. Maybe United are confident because they have a simple agreement with his representatives and him. Wait it out, keep pressure on Barcelona until they have to pay those due wages and let him go. Personally, I question the logic of allowing this situation to continue on, because at a point, just pay. Just pay. I mean, I know we shouldn't, but just pay. Just pay 10 million of the 17. I don't know. Just pay. He's back in training this week. You'd want him training with United. I don't see us getting a forward. Ronaldo's likely to stay, as we discussed yesterday. Martial's going to be great. Yes, I'm being optimistic. So why not just spend the money and resolve it? Why not just spend the money and get it done to bring him in? We've spent 5 million euros net. After Martinez, we'll have spent 60 million euros, and we've got Bailly, Tuanzebe, Jones, and other players out to sell. Just resolve it. Just do it, if that's the case. And my only concern is, if it's just down to that money, I feel like they might have done it already. And that's the only thing that makes me nervous. And I don't know that that's the case. I'm not saying that's true, but that's the thing that makes me nervous. If it was just down to that money, paying an extra 10 million, I feel like they would have done it by now, and it would be done. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure that anyone outside of the top people know exactly where it is. He's still expected to join. United still believe he will and is open to it. But at some point, this has actually got to move. And when? Barcelona go on tour to the U.S. on Friday. Now, right now, today, I think Frenkie De Jong is on that plane to the USA. And if he's not, obviously the transfer is imminent, so that'd be a huge thing. But he's probably on it. I expect him to be on it. I think he'll be flying there. And at that time, there will be a huge explosion of fans and reports and negativity, and it'll be off the charts if he's on that plane. So I hope United have a handle on this as well as they claim to, and that the people in the club think they do. But there is also the matter of how long can they wait. They can't afford to wait. It seems unlikely there's any reason now for him to head to Australia. They're there for 10 more days. And then following the game on the 23rd, the next one is in Oslo, in Europe. So he's likely not heading to Australia, since it doesn't seem imminent, like Eriksen, Martinez probably are. So they're back around the 24th in Europe. So maybe that's the time. Get in around then, get 7 to 10 days for training, ready for the start of the season. But I'll say this. If by the end of next week, by around that time, the 23rd, 24th, there isn't something solidly looking like done, happening, on his way, I will start to lose hope in this deal, because all the excuses will be gone for why it can't get done. And if it was just down to money, they would not let it drag out beyond the beginning of the season. And if we're getting to a week before the beginning of the season and it's still not done, then I'll be concerned. Then I'll be very concerned. For now, optimistic, go with what the club says, go with, the sources I have that I speak to within the club obviously recognize something. They're getting the same information at this point in time that the journalists and people like that are, about the confidence, about his willingness to join, about these kind of things. They think he's coming. So either the club is just wrong, or this deal happens in the end. So we'll have to see. I really hope they're not. They firmly believe it to be the case. So unless it gets basically to where the season is starting and Frenkie De Jong isn't, or about to start, and they're back in Europe and all of that, and and he's not here, I'm going to be hopeful and optimistic that they've got a proper read on the situation and that it'll be resolved as expected, even though it's been taking a lot longer than it should. If it gets to that time and he's not, then I'm going to start to worry. Okay, so I'll keep you updated. Let's look out for Martinez news today. Hopefully Eriksen in the next 24, 48 hours. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.